Welcome to Mobile by May, a place where we explore historic architecture, architectural salvage, and real estate that tells a story about our city's history. Okay, y'all, I'm so excited to be here at the Conde-Charlotte House Museum in Fort Conde Village. This is an amazing, fascinating story about Mobile history. It covers over 300 years. The original parts of this home actually date back to 1822. It was actually the first jail and courthouse in the city of Mobile. And then in the late 1840s, early 1850s, Jonathan Kirkbride converted it into a house. So it has a fascinating story about, and look at the flags here. So we've got the French influence, we've got the Spanish, and then as we come across here, you can see we have the British, you have the Confederacy, we have the United States, we have the Alabama state flag. So we have all these different cultural influences here in Mobile, Alabama, in this beautiful southern port city. And this is an incredible house museum. I strongly encourage y'all to come visit it. I'm just astounded by some of the period pieces and things that they have in here. This was originally a federal house, and it was converted in 1849, 1850 into a Greek revival. And that's where this magnificent monumental portico comes from. And look at these Corinthian columns with these capitals. I mean, the carpentry and the joinery is just really unrivaled. I mean, this is amazing. And then downstairs, you have the Doric columns, which are brick with stucco on them. So it's just it gives such a presence here. And it tells so much about our young republic and the history of our country, because federal, it had a lot of restraint and balance and symmetry and very simple. And then the Greek revival period comes through, and it's more classical, and it's very just strong and monumental. But I love the design and the artistry of this. And then we have to talk about this balustrade, because this is the wheat sheaf. This is like sheaves of wheat, and you can see, each one of these, it represents abundance and prosperity and also resurrection. And so that's the great thing about architecture and symbolism, is because it has so much behind it, so much stories. And this is just framed with these ancient magnolia trees. And actually in the back, they have a Spanish courtyard. So we have such a rich cultural heritage here in the city of Mobile. And this is really a gateway to our city. This is the oldest continuously operating house museum in the city. And I'm just intrigued and marvel at how it was preserved so well, and how smart it was of our ancestors, instead of tearing it down, to actually add on, build to it. And now we get to enjoy it 300 years later and really celebrate our history and our ancestors and all the craftsmanship and style that went into this design. But this front is just amazing, and even has some dental molding. So you have all these elements that kind of working together. And with the plaster and these shutters, with even the shutters, these hinges, you can't see them from there, but these are really amazing. You don't see that style very often. So you can see kind of the underlying federal aspect of the house with the symmetry and the columns and the windows and the side lights. Look at the paneling on this door. They just took so much thought and work and craft to be able to do. And look, here's the doorbell. Like Oakley has a doorbell here. So you've got this old Mobile brick raised up a little bit off the ground because of the water table. But this is something I get excited about. Look at this, y'all. This is a French cannon that's sitting here in the front yard. And then on the other side, they have a British cannon. Look how much larger this one is. And I believe in the back, I think there's another Spanish cannon. So, people oftentimes come to visit Mobile, have no idea the rich history that we have. I mean, 1702, we weren't even a country for over 70 more years. So, I mean, look at this layout here. This is just, you can't beat it. With the flags, it's just amazing. But look at how these Doric columns, see how wide they are here at the base. And as it gets it gets more slender as it rises up. So it really is more aesthetically, I think, pleasing instead of so bulky. But it serves two functions. It gives it a lot of stability, but it also, from a design standpoint, helps to make it really more beautiful and stylistic. Look at this. That's just perfection. You know, the balance, the proportion, the symmetry of it, just the harmony of the whole house together just works so well together. And I think it's just brilliant how they were able to save the original doorbell, the knockers. I mean, this took a lot of um, thought, right, and planning to be able to do this. And you come inside and look at this staircase with this mahogany. Look at this newel post here, and then all these turned balusters. I mean, this is great work, and the joinery and the mortise and tenon work that they've done to be able to create this. You know, back then they didn't have the fasteners and things that we have now to be able to do things quickly. It was all by hand. So, and look at this. Turn around. Look at this, Lisa. Look. So the doorbell, and then that's what would ring this right here, up there. Sorry, I couldn't resist. Had to do that. So this has all been managed by the colonial dames, and they have docents and tours, and we're just so pleased that they allowed us to come in and showcase some of the highlights. I mean, it's so rich in history. There's no way to cover this in a short period of time, but they have tour guides here, docents that can help take you through the history of the house. What's so neat about this, the interpretation of it, is they have different rooms that tell a story from the French colonial period to the British period after the French and Indian War, when the British had taken over. You know, and that's why it's called the Conde-Charlotte House. Originally, it was Fort Conde, which was a French, you know, it was constructed originally for the French. And then when the British took over, then it became Charlotte, which was King George III's wife. So it became Fort Charlotte. And then it became Fort Carlota, which was the Spanish. But it's a Conde-Charlotte House Museum. This is a federal room. And look at this mirror. This is fabulous. This right here with this rounded oculus. I mean, that is, and look at how it just, you can see the whole room through it. So they have some great furnishings and antiques, but I think it's really neat how they've been able to divide it into separate rooms that talks about what was in style in different times of our country's history. And then come in here, y'all. This is fascinating. So they've exposed this floor. This is the original Mobile jail, and this was the floor to the jail, and there were 6 different cells along this side of the house. And so they exposed this and lit it up so you could actually see back in the past. This is living history here. And you've got, you know, a manacle here, and you've got a copper little bowl that they would serve gruel to the prisoners. And then they found this looks like brass knuckles. It's actually lead knuckles they found under an old brick under here. So I think that's really a cool thing that they're able to showcase and feature about, you know, and that's the beauty of preservation, right? Because originally it was a fort, then it was a jail and a courthouse, and then it became a house, and then it was, you know, adapted to the Greek revival style, and then here we are 300 years later, and it's a house museum, and we're still talking about the people that built it and what was popular in that time. Have some amazing like gasoliers here that have been converted, um, and these antiques in here as well. And I tell you what I think is really unusual, which I haven't seen before, and I love mantles, but look how this mantle is. It's like a battered mantle, which is very unique. I've never seen a mantle quite like that in Mobile. So I love mantles because they really give you a more accurate timestamp of what's important at that period. And then if you look at, this is more of the entertaining, the double parlor here. So you have a paneled encased opening here. And if you look, it's slightly raised in the middle, right? So it's just very beautiful, the lines of it. And they have this stunning piano. Look at this French piano in here. I've never seen anything quite like this. So, I mean, everything in here has such provenance and such history. And I just, what we like to do with, you know, what we do with our vlog here is feature, you know, preservation, Mobile history, architecture. And so this is just a quintessential aspect of what we like to do. And I'm so glad that they allowed us to come in and just at least kind of give you some highlights. Okay, y'all, so we're upstairs in the House Museum, and this is the French colonial room. And so these are early 1820s collectible period pieces. And this is a sleigh bed. This is marquetry with, look at all the detail in here with this veneer. This is rosewood. I mean, this is exquisite, the craftsmanship that went into this. Even this rug here is 200 years old. How amazing is that? So you've got kind of the Greek revival influence when it was adapted, and then you've got this French period, and then you have this other side, which was you have two French rooms on this side of the house. And then as we go to the other side of the house, this is the McBrides, which was 1849, 1850. And this is where they lived. They had 6 children. And so it's just very simple. But I want you to look, another one of the mantels, this is the way this is battered on the ears here. Coal burning fireplaces, they've been adapted. And then you've just got very simple, a lot of restraint. It's very simple. It's very, very calming and beautiful. And then this was the children's room in here. So I assume they had to share a lot of their rooms. This is an old bath. You know, that expression about throwing the babies out with the bath water. Back then, the baby got the bath last. So it was really dirty water. So you didn't want to throw the baby out with the bath water. And then, but what I wanted to show y'all as we go outside is this is awesome because we talked about the French and the British in the front, and we talk about the Spanish here as we go out the back. Look at all of that. It's just a feast for the eyes back here. Look at all the brickwork, the Spanish tile, the fountains. I mean, this is an incredible little space, like an oasis here. And so again, it's just another chapter in Mobile's history. But I see the brickwork around the well. A lot of those bricks were salvaged when they were digging out the tunnels, and somebody had the thought to save them. And look what a brilliant idea that was. That's just stunning and gorgeous. And then over here to the right, if you look at those doors, those were actually the original jail doors, and they repurposed those on the back of the house. So that's pretty cool as well. It has little holes in it for ventilation. I mean, just a totally different period in our nation's history. And then, you know, here we are talking about, you know, basically 300 years of Mobile history, and then you pan up, and there is our skyline. You know, the RSA Tower is the tallest building in the state of Alabama. It's also the tallest building along the Gulf Coast, all the way from Texas to Florida. So, you know, we love our little city and the rich history that it has, a 300-year-old port city. It has so much to offer, and we're just excited to be able to share this with everybody and encourage everyone to come out and support these museums and really get educated about so much of the history of our city and the people that lived here, and to be able to preserve that and share it with future generations so that we can save these things. These are really touchstones into our past, and, you know, sentinels that need to be preserved. And there's just nothing quite like these historic homes, especially something as old as this. These walls are 2 feet thick, and the reason why they had them that thick is because the sun, as it heats up the stucco or the brick, that heat can't actually make it all the way through that wall. It's that thick. So there's an ingenious method and design for why they constructed things in this manner. And nothing was by happenstance. It was either aesthetically or it was functional. Typically, it was a combination of both of those. And then anybody that knows me, I'm going to snag this from Lisa. You know, I love going in basements and I love going in attics because it's so primitive and it really is a cool aspect. Look at this staircase. We're going to go up here. I just wanted to show y'all, talk about going back in time. Okay, so look at these floors. They're over 1 foot wide, heart pine floors. Look at this. So cool. I mean, just ancient timbers up here. And I think it's so neat that they've not been painted or altered, even though it's imperfect, but it's just a fascinating kind of going into our history. And kind of want to run your hands over the grain of this and just think of all the people that have lived and experienced this house. And this is just it's a treasure for Mobile, and hope that y'all come out and come support it. Thanks so much for joining us. If you have any questions or comments or any suggestions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you so much.